good morning, afternoon, nighttime, or no time. I'm your host, Sebastian Strange, and this is Somewhere Public Radio.
Max was traveling in time and basically fell out. Mercurial, reckless, and very, fuck it, I'll do it myself. She's gonna know that I'm not time-wise from here, walking around with a Zweihander. Max has a really elaborate pocket watch.
Which the city council is going to use to spy on you and control your time movements.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Claire Claremont, with her vacant eyes and her violent smile and her very sallow skin. What would it be like if you had someone come back from the dead and be Gwyneth Paltrow? I have a womb simulator.
Oh.
I don't like that.
Occasionally on windy nights, I still get flashbacks to my time as a vassal.
Eat the heart, Claire.
Ah.
Duncan Oliver, investigative, friendly, a little flirty. He works at the radio station WSOM, Radio Somewhere.
This story deserves to be covered.
I agree. We should get our best reporters on it. And Duncan kind of looks around.
Sebastian looks around.
Oh.
Citizens of Somewhere, this is a emergency broadcast update. It is advised that everyone please stay off the street.
The city council, praise be, the screaming fog. Oh, shit.
I don't even refer to them by name. I don't want to give them that kind of power.
The flayed beyond, which is generally pretty bad.
Oh, no, it sounds horrible.
Bus is sentient, Bus is alive, Bus is forever.
A leviathan of steel and tinted glass.
Run! Run!
Season 2 of Monster Hour.
Life's a game, the world's a stage, and we are merely role-players, where theatrical people play role-playing games. I'm Matt, I'm your compere for this main house production, and I am joined in person around the table, first of all by Ellie.
Hello, I'm Ellie, and I am playing Percy Byron, the Exile.
Hello, I'm Strat, I'm playing Brier the Monstrous.
Hey, I'm Dave, I'm playing Mick the Mundane.
Hello, I'm Chris, and I'm playing Ed Kincaid, the Professional.
And in this Backstage episode, we're going to create some backstory and work out how some of these characters are connected. We already have one set of connections from way back in Playtime, the very first production from the main house. Persephone Byron and Mick are already connected. Can you just remind us what that connection was?
Yes, so Mick was the first person to take Percy in, explain the modern world, and learn about her origins. So we had created a story whereby Percy lived with Mick for a while, and they watched a lot of quality TV programming such as Ice Road Truckers and Time Team.
Yeah, it says we're good friends now.
But none of these other characters have been in a session together before, so we need to create some connections between them. We're at the stage where some of you are probably running out of history questions from the playbook, so feel free to go off-piste and off-book and invent your own if you like. Does anybody have a connection with another character that is already kind of in their mind?
I wonder if for Mick and Brier, that Brier could potentially have introduced me to the existence of monsters, but Mick doesn't know that necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Just that he was involved somehow in the incident that Mick was involved in.
You really are as oblivious as I am.
I don't even know how anything happened, so it would make sense that Brian might have been involved in that.
Does dovetail actually very nicely with the connection that I wanted to have with Mick.
which sounds
Go.
ominous.
Go on.
Well, no, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Mick's family has like always been in Sheridan, right? Was that been established?
Yeah, born and raised, yeah.
Yeah, but like generations and generations, I kind of feel there has been a Mick. What's Mick's surname?
Brick?
There's the Brick family. The Bricks have been in Sheridan since Sheridan was just a crossroads, and so Brier has known like every single generation of Brick, and has got this like weird thing where
it cannot be Brit.
I feel it can for the reason of one of the relations I have left to go is just that we're related, and I think it's because we are oblivious and forget all these things after us. I think that would be really funny, especially if I call you Michael the entire time.
Yeah, Michael Brick.
And I'm completely oblivious to the fact that even Mick Brick is a problem.
yeah, Michael Brick.
And it makes sense they'd be called Brick if they were there before the town was even built. They presumably built most of the town.
I guess if they were like literally like a bricklaying family, back when people had use surnames like Smith.
Yeah, but they're not bricks.
No, presumably the name would be Layer.
Things change over time. It used to be Michael Bricky and
Mickey Bricky.
Mickey Bricky.
Did we not come up with a surname for you before?
I don't remember. There's nothing written down.
No, Mick Layer was on the table, and I had a similar reaction to that.
Because it sounds like he's in adult entertainment.
So you're saying over all this time, Matt, that hasn't grown on you at all?
It could be Mick Mason. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
Mick Mason. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, that works. So yeah, the Masons have been in Sheridan forever, and for some strange reason, Brier, over those generations, they've just decided they're just gonna like mess with that particular family. It's sort of like not for any sort of malice, just it's become habit now. So there's a new one. I will do like the horse ridey thing was probably always the new Mason. Like, I haven't done this Mason yet. I'll do this Mason.
So it's a really long running one-sided prank war.
Yeah,
that's very on brand for Brier.
Yeah. That's cool. And then, as a result of that, Brier is forming a habit of just being a witness to people's origin stories. You were just there when Cameron's family got slaughtered by ghouls, and you were there, it sounds like, Dave, when Mick dug too deep, hit a ley line, and whatever it was happened there.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It does say tell them how you feel about that on my book, but I don't think Mick knows. So
how you feel
at the moment feel
is
yeah.
I guess that means, because part of the point of this is to, create some shared history so that you have like a way of relating to each other in the game. It's like Brier always seems to know acts like they know something about you, but you can't quite put your finger on what it is.
Yeah, exactly. He knows more than he should about me.
Yeah. Nice. Mm-hmm. Okay, that covers Brier and Mick, both directions. Oh, and potentially covers Kincaid to Mick as well.
Still quite like the distant, like a reasonably far removed cousin or whatever. Because Ed is so oblivious to the reasonably constant weird things going on in Sherrydown, yet still winds up coming here all the time, then quite often there would have to be a reason he can explain away why he came there in the first place. And I think
visiting family.
Visiting.
Do you think there could also be sort of some kind of cosmic reason why you might be drawn back to or reassigned to the town constantly? Because
I think there probably is,
there.
but I just don't think he
I don't think
would acknowledge it under any circumstance.
No.
I just fancy going to visit this really distant relation that in other circumstances I wouldn't talk to ever.
Exactly.
Seems totally normal to
no
me.
one's even asked.
Is Ed maybe like a godfather or a cool uncle? Or would Ed be a cool uncle, or would he be like a slightly weird uncle to like some of the younger Masons?
I don't think he'd be a cool uncle. I don't even think he'd think he was a cool uncle.
But
a begrudging, dutiful uncle. Maybe his mum or something just goes, you've got to go and check on Michael. I think Ed probably thinks he's always in some sort of situation, pickle. And I'm just going to make sure he's all right, even though Ed's exactly the same. He just doesn't recognise that about himself whatsoever.
And I imagine any checking on exchange is just going to be like, you okay?
You right?
Yeah.
Right.
Bye.
Pub? No, I've got stuff on. All right, see you.
I'm glad I made the journey.
Nice. Okay, you all right with that, Dave?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And does that give you any thoughts about what the backstory might be the other way?
I get is Mick the younger, or are they of an age?
I imagine Mick as being a bit younger than Kincaid, but it's up to you.
It wouldn't be hugely younger, would it? So it's
it's like 50 something.
Yeah, I wonder if there's kind of a, he'd be looking up a bit as well, so, and being like, oh, he's visiting, this is kind of exciting when he was younger, and then as he's gotten older, being like, he's still coming. I don't really understand what's going on.
Just like the time in the calendar rolls around, you're like, oh, Ed's coming.
He'll be here soon.
Got to make sure we got some eclairs in.
It's the visit from Father Stone. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, maybe there's like a kind of ongoing thing that Mick feels like he needs to do whenever it's happening. And it's like, oh, I need to go and get this specific thing that I know that he likes or something. So there's a kind of begrudging kind of, got to sort that out. And it might be like, I don't know, that there's a gift he's been given in the past that he puts in the attic. He's like, right, I've got to go and get that out because I'm being visited again.
But it's pride of place on the mantelpiece.
Exactly, yeah, this is always here.
I like the idea of the object that's hidden and then comes out when he visits, and I sort of immediately thought, oh, I bet it's it's got like some kind of ward or protection on it. So it's actually some sort of really ugly ornament, but it's actually, even like being in the attic is offering Mick some level of protection. But I kind of like
it would be like Kincaid wouldn't realise it was doing that though.
Or maybe did initially and then immediately forgot, but felt the urge still to give it to him.
Maybe whichever relative initially put the pressure on me to go and keep checking on knows the thing is of some importance, but it's just some naff gift otherwise.
I'd love the fact that if that happened a good 10, 15 years ago when Mick was a kid, it was excitedly open going, oh wow, thanks Uncle. Oh, cheers.
This lovely ornament that I've always wanted.
Yeah. That's exactly what teenagers would like, right?
Ellie, we haven't heard much from you yet. Percy needs relationships with Brier and with Kincaid.
Yes.
Anything come to mind?
So I think I've got a good one for Brier. So it says, they belong to an organisation that existed in your home time. Decide between you what your relationship was with that group and how you'll be remembered by them. So I don't think it needs to be necessarily an official organisation. It could just be group of Fae in Forest.
Or official membership.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brier might not go in for that.
There's not much official in the Fae, no.
No, unless you have a gang.
Courts. They're big on courts.
When you're a Fae, you're a Fae.
But they have affiliations and loyalties, definitely.
And you definitely would have been around in my home time.
Oh.
And I imagine, because I was stationed in Sheridan for several years, that there would have been some stuff that would have gone down that you'd have been involved in.
Well, part of Brier's job was to act as liaison with Doom and before it, the
Order.
The Order.
Oh, well, there we go. That is already true in that case, this bit of backstory.
It makes perfect sense.
So you'd have been my point of contact.
Yes.
How exciting. So then I guess the question is, how am I remembered by Brier?
I think that is answered by what I wanted my relationship with Percy to be, which is going to be Percy is the only mortal in Brier's eons of consciousness to actually wheel their way out of a deal with the Fae through I found a loophole.
Ooh.
And therefore, when Percy disappeared, Brier was like, good, that annoying mortal's gone. And then, for Brier at least, at a blink of an eye, a couple of 100 years later, Percy comes back, damn it! Why is she back?
That's brilliant.
This is a narrowing of the eyes. Percy.
So did Percy wheedle her way out of a deal with Brier, or just with some Fae?
Yeah, I think with Brier specifically.
And I guess it makes sense if it was some sort of Percy would have needed Brier to agree to something to do with the Order, probably. If you're stationed here and Brier is the representative of the Fae here, you'd want something out of them.
We may have just found the origin of why Brier is having to liaise with the Order and everything and Doom to begin with, because it's not something the Fae would I have to do this for all time sort of thing. And if Brier got bored, they'd very easily just go, I can't bother. There's nothing going to be forcing them to do it. Whereas if you manage to wheedle an agreement out that has basically trapped Brier having to do that role, even grudgingly.
I wonder if it's something like, I don't know, because the Sen doesn't make it last forever, but it could be that the loophole I found was time travelling. So it could have been like, you agreed to work with the Order for as long as I'm alive, and you had it in your mind that, my mortal life is almost nothing to you.
Mm.
But then, of course, I just disappeared, but I didn't die. So you have to keep working with the Order indefinitely.
But yeah.
Yeah, until death confirmed. Habeas corpus.
Or it could be something really trifling that's just annoyed you.
I think trifling that
It's
annoyed
funnier,
him would be
isn't
more
it?
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of any specifics, but
Your
It doesn't get much more trifling than that. I can't even remember what it was, but I'm really angry about it.
yeah. Do you reckon when we were reunited, I couldn't even remember what it was about, and he was just even more incensed?
like you're bound to like supply Order HQ with snacks from the forest or something on a regular basis. Pay a tithe in tasty berries.
They just find a little pile of acorns outside every month. It's just I have fulfilled my part of the bargain on offer.
That's great. I enjoy that.
Yeah, we don't decide exactly what
No.
it is. We just Percy did something clever.
Yes, that sounds like Percy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something sort of almost computer programming-y.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Doing lots of, your sisters with somebody who basically invented logic.
Yes.
or a new kind of logic that the Fae wouldn't have understood.
Mm-hmm.
I love that my character's super smart, but Ellie doesn't need to be smart enough to remember exactly what it was that happened.
For you, it was Tuesday.
Yes.
So we've got Kincaid and Brier and Kincaid and Percy.
Mhm.
Need some backstory.
Yeah. So I've got 2 things left on the official history list.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think what is Kincaid's sort of is. I feel like for some reason that Kincaid's general attitude is fairly old school. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
And what's the attitude towards monsters? Is it like just kill them all?
doesn't really. No, he's got that. So normally his agency requires him to live capture
Right.
monsters. However, like, he's reasonably hazy on whether he's ever encountered anything supernatural at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the last mission, which is the tourist trap bit, is the one that it's just about has like pangs of memory of, like, and it's only because when he returns, people do occasionally remind him that is a thing that occurred. But like, I think he has to go over his reports a lot to just because he wrote them at the time, filed them, like, and he just has to check that is still what he thinks happens, because it just slowly fades out of his brain and gets sort of rationalised and explained away.
I feel like Kincaid's overall attitude to the supernatural is, I would rather not be dealing with it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was kicked to like this, nonsense department, which has turned out not to be quite such a nonsense.
Yeah.
But that's only recent.
Yeah,
So-
this whole live capture policy was almost just like another parameter that the bosses put on him as like an impossible task to fulfill.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily something he believes in. It's just something. It's
He's
just
set
like-
up to fail, and
Yeah.
he's recently realised that he might not have to.
Cool. Yeah, the 2 I have left is when you met, you immediately liked and respected each other, and you both became hunters because the same sort of monster attacked you or your kin. But Percy became a hunter because she was born into it, and I'm happy to go with immediately liked and respected each other, but I'm trying to find a reason as to why we might have done that.
Yeah.
The things I've got left mostly involve direct involvement with agency things of the other characters. So I have to, like, by the agency, sort of have acknowledged your existence in a supernatural way, not just as a person. So I got sent to deal with them as a hazard to the agency's policies, or they pulled you and maybe your team out of a terrible foobarred mission. But the barrier I continually run into with these sorts of questions, or they've worked with the agency before and they're well regarded. So that doesn't require me to acknowledge you as supernatural.
I think I quite like the one about you being sent to deal with me as an issue, because
That was the one I was leaning towards.
yeah, because Percy does not buy into the capture live thing. Like that's something that she's come up against with other people, is she's still got the no, we kill all the monstrous things. So if she's going around probably with Starkey's character, just trying to deal with maybe like low-level pests in the area and causing a bit of a ruckus, then you may well have been deployed to try and deal with her. But I don't think you'd have necessarily regarded Percy as supernatural. It'd be very easy for you to just assume she's
be like, you're just a woman.
human woman with a vigilante complex.
Yeah.
Well, I also
Says
imagine
funny
like,
words sometimes.
Equally, there's Percy just appeared on the radar. There is no kind of record of her. She doesn't show up in surveillance stuff before she appeared, which is what another like a non-supernatural reason why she might be on MI5's radar.
Yeah,
as like a threat to national security.
and the rest of it is just by very nature of it being Sherrydown. It's like here's another thing going on.
Yeah,
Better check it out. Because also, I get the impression most of the time when it turns up in Sherrydown, he's going to interview someone, conclude that nothing untoward is going on, and leave again. And so, like, that could ultimately really be what has happened so far.
So there's a kind of a nice story in Kincaid was sent to deal with Percy as a threat, or like, you know, had Percy on the tick list of things to deal with in Sheridan, but then you met each other and respected each other.
Yeah, and it could have been partly because regardless of what Kincaid wants to believe is actually happening in Sheridan, it's evident that I am keeping the trouble levels down to an extent. So you're like, oh,
It's just like, you're
this is
making my
great.
job very easy.
Yeah, carry on.
You're making forgetting very easy.
Yes. And I'm just happy that there's someone who seemed like they were going to come and interfere, but then was very on board with the way I do things. So I think mutual liking and respect can come from that.
Yeah, great. Yes. You stay out of my business and I'll stay out of yours.
Precisely.
And then we go straight into an adventure where they're working together. Great.
I just also like, because it's a hazard to the agency's policies, and it ultimately is really just because Ed doesn't really think the policies can be fulfilled. It's just like, oh yeah, you're fine. You're sort of doing it. In that case, I kind of like, because Brier and Percy have a sort of rivalry, and like possibly before we met and like I was coming in to meddle with things, like you pulled me out of a foobard situation because you're like, someone's come to meddle with Percy. Let's keep them about. Which goes to increase your frustration when we're just fine with each other. So I quite like that as a notion.
So I pulled you out of something real bad.
Yeah, probably. Possibly even Percy trying to deal with me in the first place.
It sounds like, or you stumbled into the forest.
The others are
And
not.
some fey stuff happened.
The others are not fey enough. Like they involve you too directly working in or with an agency.
Yeah.
So I think
We can come up with a monster situation that happened off air that this is about, or it could equally just be that Kincaid was in the forest and some fae decided to have fun with him, and Brier pulled him out of that.
Yeah, didn't want to have to deal with Percy's wrath for the fae messing with the one person she respects.
Or like, stop messing with this guy because his job in my eyes is to mess with Percy.
yes, I think that's it. It's
Yeah.
sort of this sort of
Yes, yeah.
cyclical thing where everyone's oblivious to their part in the irritation.
Mm-hmm. That's funny because I have you save them from another of your kind as history as well. But question: what does Ed think Brier is?
I guess probably whatever animal or whatever you were when you dragged me out of a pickle.
Because I was wondering, is Brier just going to be really annoyed because every time you turn up and you're there all the time, like they have to introduce themselves? It's like, oh, this isn't even fun. Yes, I'm Brier. Hello.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it ultimately depends what form you would take in those situations.
Because the only way Brier can talk
I don't
to
think
you-
he'd forget people entirely.
Well, the thing,
Just
Brier though
deny.
is a 2 foot tall green.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
But you do have you've got a human national
This
trust
is true. Robin Goodfellow.
personage, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah. So I guess you remember Robin.
that makes
And then remember there being loads of animals around all the time.
Yeah.
that always pull me out of trouble.
No, I never see the animals and Robin at the same time, but they're always around just after he was around.
Yeah, maybe you have an assumption that the animals are around Robin all the time. Like you won't let yourself believe that they are the same entity.
I get it. Robin's controlling the animals.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's easier to believe than
That's
true.
as supernatural as you'll go.
Oh, Robin's got loads of pets.
It's a Dr. Dolittle situation.
Yeah. Okay, then.
Yeah, that's good. So, like, some other woodland fae without Brier's say-so were, like, trying to get Kincaid to eat the fairy food or step into a fairy ring or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, hands off, this one's mine.
It might be useful to know, like, have we all done off-air adventures together already? Or is this going to be our first one with everybody or certain people? And
It might be your first time, like, these four of you doing, like, fighting a monster together, but you are all aware of what each other have been doing. You've probably all hung out at the pub.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not any of your first time meeting. It's not any of your first time knowing that you do supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
But it's up to you whether there are kind of monster hunting experiences that you've gone through together, or whether it's like, we know that we do this stuff around here, but I haven't done this specifically with you before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess the only one, like for Mick, he obviously knows Percy because they're friends, and he knows Ed because they're family. But with Brier, I don't know if Mick would have even actually encountered him yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose that's the only one that we could probably work out, is whether, like, is Mick going to be like, oh my goodness, a small green thing?
I would like to avoid that.
Yeah.
It's good in, like, early seasons when the audience haven't met Brier yet either, but, like, at this point, I think it's good if you've met Brier, you know Brier's deal, even if you haven't, like, been through a full-on ordeal with them before.
Cool. That makes sense.
I mean, it sounds like Brier has probably given you the nightmare horse ride initiation of all of the Masons in Sheridan.
Congratulations.
I wonder if your family talk about it, like, at some point in your life, something weird's going to happen, and you just have to be okay with it.
Just family history.
Yeah.
Or that would make sense why Mick doesn't care about anything. He's like, meh.
I think also guaranteed, like, your family would have taken you into the forest and shown you Brier's tree, and there would have been stories and tales growing up of...
Do you think Brier, we sort of worked out that Brier may have witnessed the origin of it, but is Brier curious at all about how Mick gets these, like, weird bursts of strength?
I think so, because I think throughout the whole history of Mick's family, nothing like this has happened before. So I think at the back of Brier's mind, they're thinking, did I do this? Is this what happens when multiple generations of mortal have exposure to Fae? Or is this something else? So kind of like waiting in the wings, trying to work out if this is Fae something or something else.
So that gives another reason why you might have been in contact.
Yeah.
Like Brier might have just, like, rocked up and kind of hung out and chatted with you while you're laying bricks to try and get to the bottom of this.
It's like a little point of fascination for you.
Yeah, just like distracting you while some other Fae put a few extra bricks on the thing on the carry on the hod.
Yeah.
And like, how many bricks will he be able to carry?
They haven't found the amount yet.
yeah.
Because Mick's built. Nice. Okay. I think that's enough offstage backstory. I think we're ready to take the stage and play this adventure now.
Woohoo! Yay!
This has been Vigil, a main house production from Merely Roleplayers. It stars Ellie Pitkin as Persephone Byron, Dave as Mick Mason, Strat as Brier, and Chris McLennan as Ed Kincaid. I'm Matt Boothman and I play the supporting cast. Editing and sound design by me, and the theme music is by Alexander Pankhurst. We were playing Monster of the Week, a role-playing game by Michael Sands, published by Evil Hat Productions. You can find Monster of the Week at genericgames.co.nz. Merely Roleplayers is a Foggy Outline production in association with Blackshaw Theatre Company. Until next time, if drama be the food of life, play on.